You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
All right, we are back. It is Tuesday, September 9th, presented by Bet365. This is Leafs Morning Take, Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill. To put into perspective how we feel, how things are going in the NHL world, we were having a pretty extensive conversation prior to starting today's podcast about some of the legendary WWE divas from, 25 years ago before this show. Pretty damn good convo.
Ooh, that sounds rough. But yeah, after watching that Vince McMahon documentary, that was the heyday of bringing the girls in and whatnot. Some people don't like that too much, but they were imprinted in our minds pretty heavily at the age we were at, weren't they?
Imprinted's a really nice word I would use for sure. Our Super Chat charity partner this season is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and 3rd in the world. So the countdown continues. I always put out a rundown for Vic and Jay prior to our shows. We are 29 days away, Rosie. Like we're almost there. I don't include the preseason, man.
Yeah, so we're even closer. If you do, I count camp as when we're starting. Get the guys together, the teams together as when things get going. As a player, that's when it gets going. You know, you open up with that big meeting, first day of camp. You look around at who's there. You're looking at the depth pieces and saying who is going to go where and what do they need and what are they looking for and who's running the show. And it's ramp up time, baby. So those guys are looking forward to it, I'm sure. But yeah, and you keep going even further to opening night. That's only 29 days away. We know how quick that can go by this time of year. So exciting, man. Exciting. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
What are they going to do with the influx of forwards? Because last time I checked, there's like 17 forwards on this roster. Nick Robertson, magically still a Maple Leaf. David Kampf. I mean, the list goes on and on here.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about Easton Cowan. What's this guy going to look like? Who's he going to have to beat out? Who is he ahead of? Who's he behind? Lots to talk about at camp this year. Bodies galore, forwards galore. I do not know what's going to happen. You know, a lot of them, we know their body of work. It's not like Easton Cowan's a guy at his age and his tenure. He could have had a monster year in development and mental development and confidence and strength, and his body could have, like, he's at that age, he's young, he could surprise a lot of people and be even better than we already know that he is. But the guys like Yarncroke and Camp and stuff, you kind of know what they are. Maybe someone would argue with that. Obviously you can get better over a summer and whatnot, but it's just going to come down to decision making for the brass and for the coaching staff, and it's going to be interesting. And there's going to be guys on waivers, I would expect. Everyone's waiting for a big trade to happen where it clears bodies out and opens up X, Y, and Z. But I'm pretty sure he's been working the phone since July, and those don't just grow on trees. So it's going to be interesting. I'll say that.
I would argue the rest of the league knows what these guys are, and that's why they're still Maple Leafs. I'm to that point, I'm never believing anything an NHL insider says ever again, because this was by far, in my 15 years of covering the NHL post-school, the worst offseason in NHL history. Like, who got better? Who got infinitely better? I think the one team that stands out in the Atlantic Division because they got Noah Dobson, it's the Montreal Canadiens. Outside of Vegas, of course, I don't want to talk about Vegas. Outside of Vegas, I mean, has anybody vastly improved from 3 months ago is my question.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of hot movement. You know, you look at the year before and, you know, say the Nashville Predators made a huge splash and everyone's talking about them being cup contenders. And lo and behold, they fill their pants and go the opposite direction. So, but there's just not really that story this offseason. So, interesting enough, we'll see where the chips fall. And, you know, you give yourself a month of the season and you start to see these teams take shape. You can start to put your ducks in a row. But I think the Maple Leafs are pretty interesting story. probably as interesting as any other one, including Vegas. And it's the departure of certain players, the addition of other players, needing so badly an identity change over the past handful of years, and now getting one. And then the question is, what is that going to look like? And are they going to be better? And how are those players going to gel? And can you tell there's an identity change, or did you just lose a big point getter? I mean, there's lots of speculation, and there's so many naysayers of the Leafs, and there's so many passionate fans of the Leafs. It could go either way, but at least that we're in a market here where there is some interesting things happening, and it's not just the status quo.
If you can go to any game this upcoming NHL season, where would January 15th Leafs at Vegas rank for you on your list?
That's got to be right up there. Like, you tell me a better one. There could be a Habs game when the Habs start crawling up to the standings and start competing against the Leafs here sooner than later. But aside from any of that, which isn't the case right now, it's got to be the Vegas game.
And I think a lot of you in the chat would agree. And just a forewarning, a bit of a spoiler, lots cooking behind the scenes here. So we'll leave you with that conversation. January 15th could be a very, very exciting day for Leafs Nation and Leafs Morning Take. On the contrary, man, it's always difficult losing anybody in life, but that really hit me. I got home from the Wallen concert on Thursday. Ken Dryden, absolute legend in the NHL world, former Leafs president for a couple years as well. Montreal Canadiens great, passes away at the age of 78 due to cancer. But man, when you do extensive research on people, and especially legends when they pass away, like, you really dive in deep to how great these people were. Not only on the ice, but off the ice, but most specifically on the ice with Dryden. You sort of forget, like, he retired really, really early, and the credentials are insane. Like, he played just, over 7 seasons. He had 6 Stanley Cups, 5 Vezinas, a Calder, a Conn Smythe, like, ludicrous numbers, man.
That's outrageous. He is one of the all-time greats. The problem with getting older is more people, or know of more people, and it's more, the older you get, the more you hear about people passing away, and Ken Dryden's no exception. One of the all-time greats. He always seemed like a monster to me. Like, I don't think he was, I think he was maybe 6'4" or something like that, but it seemed like he was like 6'7" back in the day when a 6'3" person wasn't that common. But I just remember him in that math. I don't remember him, but you pay attention to hockey history. I would watch the documentary on the 72 Summit series with my dad, and it was like 3 VHS tapes, and we'd pop them into the old tube TV, and I'd watch that. And Ken Dryden was a part of that, Hall of Famer, and I just see him standing there basically leaning his elbow against the crossbar in that iconic Habs mask. And he was one of the greats, and not just on the ice, but off the ice as well. All-time great player, all-time great person. So the hockey world definitely lost one of the greats here just now.
Yeah, certainly somebody I resonated with growing up. As you guys know, I was born in Montreal. My dad was a big Habs fan growing up. Luckily, I didn't latch onto that, but Ken Dryden was a guy he idolized big time, and the numbers speak for themselves. But, even what he did off the ice, a politician, an author, this was somebody early on in life that realized, like, hockey is not everything for me, which is pretty tremendous stuff. But I looked at those numbers and I'm like, this guy was out of this world. Imagine having a goalie like that every night for your team.
Well, cup rings, they kind of speak for themselves, don't they? But that's impressive. And like you said, he if you think every player is just a rockhead or whatever, all cut from the same cloth, look at a guy like that. There's lots of people out there that are doing some things, and he kind of blazed that trail and had lots going on in life, like you said, outside of hockey. And it's kind of crazy when you're that good and you can make that big of an impression on something as, interesting and neat and satisfying as being a professional hockey player. Still moved on and did great things in other aspects. So rest in peace there. And sad day for a lot of fans of hockey and a lot of fans of Ken Dryden.
Our condolences, thoughts, and prayers with the Dryden family. Maxentius Decimus, thank you so much for the super chat. This will be Joe Bowen's last season. Feeling old. Yeah, Bonesy's an absolute legend. I had a chance to work with him for a couple of years. So did producer Vic. It's really, really cool and unique seeing legends work behind the scenes. I'll put it that way with Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph. One of the best duos I've ever worked with. The best duo I've ever worked with, honestly. It was really damn cool to see behind the scenes. And that voice, it's going to be a tough season, like after this one, when somebody, imagine taking that job from Joe Bowen. That's going to be tough stuff, Rosie.
Yeah, that'll be a long time going when you're trying to fill those shoes before people actually get used to your voice or accept your voice. I mean, I feel for the guy the first time he steps on that mic. Whoever does in fact replace Joe Bowen is it's not going to be comfortable for anybody. So a tough job that'll be, but it's kind of cool that he gets to to leave after being, an icon in the Leafs nation and the Leafs fandom. He's been the voice of it, and people resonate with him. And I just remember in my day that those guys traveled on the plane with us, and you go to the back, and he was always good to have a quick bullshit. He wanted to, some guys are weird around you. Some guys will kiss your ass. Some guys will be all shy and nervous. But Joe and Ralphie, they just, they were totally cool to be around, totally comfortable, cracking a joke here and there. They fit in awesome, and it was great having them around. I remember going back when they're having a drink back there and having a bullshit with them, and he was full of stories, man. So it was nice to sit there and listen to some stuff and have a laugh. So I hope he enjoys his last season. Take it in, guys. You never know when things get taken away or change or whatever it is, but if you enjoy it, enjoy this season and the voice and the calls that he has for the Maple Leafs.
Bonesy has vowed to guest on this podcast once he moves on from the Maple Leafs broadcast. I still think it's insane in 2025. Granted, I had a friend text me the other day and say they're making us go back to work full time, but ever since the pandemic, these two absolute studs are calling games from screens instead of being there on the road, which I think is beyond insanity to me, especially when you get to the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's only a couple teams that do it, but come on. The people who own this team are so bloody rich. It's disgusting.
I know, like, what's their reason? It's too expensive. Like, it doesn't cost anything to go on the Bird. It's a freaking hotel room. And, like, that's it. It's a hotel room. You're billions and billions of dollars. Like every time they hike the ticket prices up and just gouge the common man. And the common man who's a fan loves to hear these guys, and you won't even bring them on the road because of it's hundreds. It's in the hundreds of dollars it would cost to throw them in a hotel room. Just pretty silly, but things like that happen, I guess. And I think they were vocal about it, and fans are on their side overwhelmingly. And again, that's because their reputation for being as good as what they are at what they do.
At any rate, are you ready to dominate your fantasy league this season? Daily Faceoff has your back with the brand new DFO Fantasy Draft Kit, your one-stop shop for everything you need to build the perfect fantasy hockey team. We're talking player projections, updated line combinations, power play units, sleeper picks, bust warnings, and team previews. Whether you're a seasoned vet or a fantasy rookie, this kit has everything you need to dominate your league. So before you make your first pick or panic in round 5, head on over to dailyfaceoff.com/draft-kit and get your hands on the fantasy draft kit. Fantasy hockey domination starts at dailyfaceoff.com. Will you be in any fantasy leagues this season, Rosie?
No, I was in a football one and I left it because it was just a pain in the ass and I just want to focus more on hockey. But it's crossed my mind. I think it's good to stay up to date with different players around the league, stay up to date with what's going on with different teams. Obviously, we're pretty Leaf-centric around here, and I do like to focus on that. And the time I have to put into following hockey, I just want to be Leafs because there's enough going on to keep you busy there. But it has crossed my mind, but if I do, it'll be that one, and I'm kind of excited for that.
By the way, Daily Faceoff has their top 300 fantasy hockey players, 11 Leafs scattered on the top 300, and it speaks for itself. Speaking of which, Rosie, we've had a lot of really, really fun interviews on this podcast, but bar none, I could speak for myself at least, one of our faves, Matthew Knies, after a 2-year hiatus here on Leafs Morning Take, returning to the podcast. We'll play that interview in about 20 minutes or so here.
2 years ago, hey? It seems like he's been on every year, but yeah, I mean, he's kind of everywhere. They send him down to Vegas to do their media stuff and kind of be the face of the Maple Leafs down there, which is, says a lot, and I think is pretty interesting. He's a well-spoken kid. Again, like from the time we first interviewed him and he's sitting in his Minnesota Golden Gophers locker room there and you can see the college stuff in the background, I was like, this kid does not seem like a college player. He has got a great head on his shoulders, and I think that shines through every time we talk to him, including recently here on this interview that you guys are about to hear.
At the Leafs Nation 401 here on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. So you talked about it, the North American Media Tour down in Vegas. And I thought it's good. Like, if you want to attempt to get away from the Core 4 era, Matthew Knies is like a perfect replacement for like a Mitch Marner. Like, I think we both agree this guy's going to evolve into a bigger leadership role with this team. But coming off a really, really damn good season, 29 goals, 58 points, the fact that also he is on the radar of Team USA when it comes to the Olympics. Like, well, we've seen this kid grow in like 2 short years, which is insane too.
Oh, I know. I mean, everything he's done it in a way that exceeds anyone's expectations, even if you have very high expectations, which everyone does in this market. People are like, he's not going to make any kind of an impact coming out of college. Well, he did. Well, he's probably going to come back to earth there in his rookie season. Well, he didn't. Well, it's probably going to be a sophomore slump there. Well, there wasn't. He just keeps stepping up every step of the way. And I just think that's the cloth he's cut from. He's confident. I think he has high expectations from himself. He's just good stock, man. And again, it takes a lot to be that well-rounded. You got to have the body and the skill, and you got to have the drive and the work ethic, and you got to be mentally tough, and you got to be dedicated to your craft, and it's the whole package. And he just seems to check all the boxes. I've thrown the fact that I think he's captain material down the road. Again, he's 22 years old and he's on a long-term contract and seems to like playing in this market. The market seems to like you. Obviously, that can change in a hurry around here, but I don't see this kid doing anything but big things down the road. And I think the Leafs have recognized that, put their stock into him. And like you say, you're going to show the media and put your part of your franchise and have someone represent your franchise down in Vegas for the whole media tour. And what a great guy to do that. It's a reminder that there's some big names out there besides the Mitch Marner and the Auston Matthews and Willie Nylander. And I think that, how different the team would look if they didn't draft this kid. It would be a tougher spot. And I think all the conversations throughout the summer would probably look a little bit different, but because he's there, he's a big body, a big boy, a big name. And I think he's going to be a big part of the future.
Bottom line, he gets it. And he's probably, for me, as close as a throwback as you can find in this league right now, specifically in Maple Leafs lore, when it comes to the greats, Wendell, Tucker, guys like that. Like, nobody will ever duplicate what those guys brought to the table. But I love the fact that he can make a difference, not just on the score sheet. And it's more and more difficult, we'll say, in these days to find players like that. Like, even in our time with Kniesy, we addressed, obviously, the White Cloud fight from last year, the disappointment in losing to the Florida Panthers. Like, it always seems like he has the right quote, and he has been making the rounds the last couple of days, spoke to the Athletics' Josh Cloak, and this quote specifically stood out for me, where he's like, I want that feeling that I'm playing for the whole city. I don't really look at it as something that can tear me down. Like, it just seems like he always has the perfect thing to say. I don't know if it's the PR training, but he's always very, very locked in on what's that course,
Well, he's easy to like, right? In this market, it's the biggest market in the world. We talk about all the time, the media. People are always blown away. Like, you can't get to your stall after pregame skate against the frickin' Blue Jackets because there's so many media and so many cameras and so many wires and microphones and shit going on that it's just, the market's massive. And that can be a really positive thing when they get behind you, and it can be a really negative thing as we've seen recently when they decide your time here is done and they're sick and tired of what you offer. And this guy is on the right side of it. I think he understands it. And you do need a certain personality and a guy with some thick skin and maybe the right mentality and who presents himself in a certain way to thrive here and to have that huge market and all that media be on your side. Obviously, I said things can change quickly, and yeah, that's just like anything else, but he's a guy that seems to thrive in this market. Like, I've seen guys step into this market and just by being here, they fold. Like, look at some of the draft picks down the line, go back as far as you want. They get to Toronto and it's just too much for them. It's even if they're, highly touted and they feel very supported in the market, it's a lot for people. But sometimes guys have, in my mind, it's your mind. You have the mental toughness to go in there and handle it and say, I am just as big as all of this. I can handle this. I can absorb this. I can feed off of that. And quotes like that say to me that Matthew Knies has got her figured out, loves being here, and he uses this market to his advantage rather than the other way around.
That's exactly it. It's like he licks his chops in pressure cooker moments. Like, how many times have we talked in the last decade about marquee moments, signature moments, if you will, and guys can't step up to the occasion? It just seems like every time they're in pressure cooker type moments, Nyes knows how to elevate. And we did sort of address that in the interview as well. And I think you were so bang on from day one, where he just has sort of the traits, the characteristics to be a leader, to be a future captain in this league. And I wonder, like, coming off the season, I like that you brought it up in the interview, the pressure of a new contract, because I think every player deals with it differently. And I wonder off the get-go, and I wouldn't be shocked if Nye just continues on forward and there's sort of no impact to signing this new deal. But I wonder from that aspect how the player fares now that he's got the new contract in tow. I suspect nothing's going to change with Nyes, but I think there's added weight for sure when you make that much money.
Well, I think it's how you view it, right?
Yeah.
And your personality and what drives you. There's players, and every organization has seen it, where a guy signs a big ticket and then kind of shuts it down, right? And now
Yeah.
the pressure's off. I got paid. Now I don't have to worry about stuff so much. Well, that's usually, obviously money motivated and money focused players. And then all of a sudden they're not playing as well. And then the tides turn. Then the fan base turns on you. Then the scrutiny happens and the tough questions happen from the media. It's just kind of, it turns into a shit show, and it's happened a million times, and it's going to happen down the road again. But with Nyes, I feel like, I don't know, like like you talk about like what he's purchased with his contract and whatnot, and he's just nothing. Like, I don't know, the guy's got to tell me, he doesn't seem like that player. I feel like, the worst thing for a guy like him would be to get injured really badly in a contract year. Like, that would be something that would be really rough. But he did what he needed to do in his entry level. He earned a new contract. He signed it. Great. That's done. Now I think the pressure's kind of off. We've taken care of the next, large handful of years. Now I can just focus on what I like to do, which is play hard and dedicate yourself to this craft and get better and better. I think that's what motivates him. And I would really be shocked if he's a guy that feels pressure now that he has that contract. I think it would more likely be the other way around.
Let's talk expectations. So he had 29 goals, 29 assists, 58 points last year. But do you view him differently now with the other guy gone in Vegas? And I would say it's Matthews, Nylander, and now Nyes the number 3, JT the number 4. If you want to rank these guys, like, I think with the amount of money they paid him too, I think there's the expectation that you elevate a bit more offensively. So is there a ballpark you're looking at where you're like, okay, if he gets to those type of numbers, I feel okay with the contract and the players? It's sort of the entire body of work that you want to see?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to throw numbers around and whatnot. I expect him to be a better player this year than he was last year. I just feel like at that age, with his caliber of, how high a stock that he is, I just feel like you're going to get better as a player each year. Obviously, the big question mark is Mitch Marner isn't going to be there to set these guys up. Mitch Marner is a disher. He's a playmaker, and a lot of the points come off of his stick. Now, whoever is going to be in that place is going to be trying to do the same things, and the points are going to come. But it's more, I mean, we all know in this market, it's more about being stronger as a team and understanding how to get through a 60-minute game against a good opponent without shutting down. And when you face some adversity, how do you respond, and can you shut it down, and can you stop the bleeding? It's been what's plagued this team. It's why they don't win the games 5s and 6s and 7s when they need to. It just gets hard, and it's just too fragile, and the paper rips and the levees break, and they need to fix that. What Matthew Knies' point total is, I think he could easily be a 30-goal scorer still, push 60 points. And again, I just think his trajectory is going upwards. But I don't really like to. It's going to happen in this market as soon as we're a month into the season and we have some comparables to last season or whatever. There's going to be all the people who love to say, well, they're not on pace to do this and they're not on track to do that. I don't really give a shit. I want to know what happens in April when the going gets tough, and what are you made of? And I think that I've been a supporter of the direction they're going with that, and Matthew Knies will be at the forefront of it. I think he's going to be, like you say, one of the top handful of players on that team. Again, leadership qualities at 22, which is kind of absurd in this league, but that's what it's going to look like. He's going to be one of the leaders on the team. And I'm just excited to get, a full body of work so we can see and have a sense of what this team's identity is, because that's been the whole point of these changes, is to create a different identity. And, whether Michelli comes in and he's dishing to these guys like he can, and he can get back to his old form where he was, pretty potent playmaker, is yet to be seen. But it's just hard to make predictions. I just know that Matthew Knies is going to be a part of that core group that's leading the charge.
Assuming he plays the same brand, the same style that we've seen the first 2 years of his NHL career, I think 30 goals, 35 assists, like around the 65-point threshold, I'd consider that a win. It's not all about points with Matthew Knies. Like when he's on his game, he's been tenacious. He's strong on the forecheck. He's not putting up with shit. Like I think when he gets in trouble, he's being tentative, which is very normal with younger players. So I think with anybody this young and green in their career, consistency is the name of the game. Like how often do we talk about that with young players? So now that you're almost, you're more the guy than you were the previous 2 seasons, can you find that consistent effort on a nightly basis? Like in my opinion, that's what sets apart the good players from the great players in this league. Can you find it when sometimes you don't have it,
Yeah, 100%. And how consistently can you do that throughout the lineup? I mean, I don't like getting like Auston Matthews getting 69 goals. That's awesome. And you're going to win trophies, and it's going to sell hockey cards and posters and jerseys. And that's great. But you look at the teams that win the Stanley Cup, they're well-rounded, right? They're spreading those points out. I don't really necessarily need a guy to get 115 points to be like, oh, we have a chance to win the cup, because that guy's not necessarily going to be able to put the whole team on his back in those pressure moments. You have to have the well-rounded roster. And if all those points from Marner get spread out through the whole damn roster because they all play a certain brand and they all have a system that works, that they've completely bought into it and they all trust it and they trust each other and they won't put the hammer down and everyone's on the same page, that's the kind of shit that wins you the game 5, 6s, and 7s that they've been lacking. So I'm more interested in that. And I'm not even going to pay attention remotely when inevitably the team will go through, a sour patch or where they're a little bit light or they have a tough schedule and they're not rattling them off and everyone's going to say C. I don't care. It's all about putting the building blocks together towards becoming a better playoff team. And yeah, like I said, Matthew Knies is going to be there, but the numbers, I don't need one guy to pop off and be this superstar with these outrageous numbers and win the Hart Trophy and the Rocket Richard. I don't need that. No team's won the Stanley Cup, I don't think, that has a player that makes more than $10 million. So obviously that tells me that spreading the wealth around is a lot more valuable when it comes time to start doing damage in the playoffs.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Meantime, this show is brought to you by Simply Spiked. I'll tell you, Rosie, on Thursday I had a chance once again, the second time in as many years, to go check out Morgan Wallen. Went to Rogers Center to take in the big concert, sellout crowd. And what sparked my great evening was Simply Spiked. And I'll be honest, I dabbled in all 3 flavors, Simply Spiked Lemonade, Simply Spiked Peach, and the newest flavor, the Limeade, which were all outstanding. But it really sparked my night, man. It was great stuff, great concert, and nothing like a nice, cool bevy to start things off for sure.
You're pre-gaming, were you? That would be a concert where a little pre-game would be needed. Yeah, I don't know. Out here, it's like fall happens in the snap of your fingers. Like all of a sudden one morning it's brisk out and you're like, oh God, it's fall. And it's actually a pretty nice time of year out here. The harvest is happening. The swathers and combines are going. I was sitting on my old man's deck. We had a little family dinner and I brought a case of that and I was sharing it around. We were looking at the sunset and the combines and the smell of all that crop coming off was pretty awesome. It's dear to my heart. And I think it kind of proves it works for any season. So yeah, enjoyable night for sure as well.
I'm really feeling the kiwi peach flavor these days. Like the last little while, every time I have one, it seems to be the kiwi peach flavor. But check them out today. These juicy beverages are 5% alcohol, contain real fruit juice, and are the perfect refreshing drink. Pairs perfectly, as Rosie mentioned, with any occasion, hangouts with friends, backyard bonfires, and more. Simply Spiked has been bringing the juiciness since launching in Canada in 2023. And you can pick up a variety pack to try. Each flavor must be legal drinking age. Please celebrate responsibly. Pick up Simply Spiked at your local liquor store for your next hangout. Any final thoughts before we throw to the Matthew Knies interview, Rosie?
No, I've stroked him pretty hard already today and every other time. I think you can enjoy this interview, get a sense of what this guy's all about, and he's a likable guy, and he's a big part of the future of the Maple Leafs. So enjoy.
Without further ado, here's our guy, Matthew Knies.
Kniesy, thanks for joining us, man. I want to start off by mentioning last season, Game 2 in the playoffs. I was there to watch, and I was taking the elevators up to the box there, and I felt this tug on my shirt, and there was this sweet small lady who said something, and I was just prepared to say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I kind of realized it was something more. I got down low and listened to her, and in the sweetest voice, she goes, "I am Matthew Knies' mother, and I just want to say how much I appreciate the nice things you've said about my boy." And I was just like, of course, this is Knies' mom. Seems like the sweetest woman in the world. That's too funny. And I got asked, does she watch Leafs Morning Take, or how does this come about?
I don't know. She's probably on her phone all the time, Googling everything, and wants to be as much as possible. And no, I'm not shocked she did that, because I feel like she reads into our team a lot. So
that's awesome. That was awesome. She seems like a very sweet lady, and I was happy to meet her.
It feels like you really block out the external noise. Like, maybe talk about that, what it's like to play in Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's so involved. It's just such a loving and passionate city, and I mean, it's fun to be a part of. Yeah, it gets to it sometimes, and it could kind of sway you mentally. But I think if you just kind of stay level-headed and like you said, block out some of the noise and just kind of focus on yourself, focus on the game. And I try to obviously take my mind off hockey when we're in season as much as possible. And I think I do a really good job with that. So I think that's kind of why I don't really tend to see much of that stuff, or not try to get it to affect me.
For sure. Obviously, Knies, you're ramping up for this season. You got a new group of guys in a lot of ways coming in, and the team's going to look a little bit different. What's kind of the game plan, to start off on the right foot and get everyone on the same page?
Yeah, obviously new faces, so just getting familiar with each other. I think that trip that we take, after training camp is very important. Just the camaraderie we can, kind of get together and get close with each other is important. Obviously, we still have some key pieces that we have from previous years, so just trying to build off that. Create some structure and play well from the start of game 1 to game 80, 82, and 84 eventually. But yeah, I think just having a strong start is going to be really important for us, and just getting close with each other, come training camp is going to be huge.
What did your summer look like?
I spent most of my summer in Minnesota. I live with 2 other NHL players in Snuggerud and Lacombe. So we shared a place and just trained together, worked out together, skated together, and yeah, it was awesome. We got to enjoy the weather, enjoy the lake life a little bit, and golf a little bit, tennis, and do all sorts of things. So it was really good.
And going back to last year's playoffs, Knies, you get to Game 7 against a pretty big boy team in the Florida Panthers. When you look back at that and what happened and have time to reflect, what kind of things did you learn from that playoff run?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had such a great start in that series, and I think we showed what we could do. I think our consistency just wasn't there throughout the whole series. We let some games slip and just weren't on the pedal. And I think we just didn't play as physical as we needed to, as tough as we needed to in those key games, especially in Game 7. Just to kind of let them push us around, I think was just obviously very unacceptable. And I think with the guys we've added a lot of grit and a lot of muscle to our team. So I think that's going to be important. And obviously, when it comes to playoff time, it's it's big boy hockey, and I think that we added a lot of that.
It really feels like you relish the playoffs, man. Like, I think that's one of the endearing things watching you play, and that's why you become a fan favorite in short order, is you seem to step up to the plate when it matters most. What is it about playoff games that gets you cooking?
I just think it's so simple hockey. It's such north-south hockey, and I think that's exactly how I play. I think it's physical, it's hard. A lot of the bounces are around the net, especially that's where I score my goals. So I think that's a big reason as to why I think I tend to do a little bit better is just how simple the game gets and how much more physical and physically demanding the game demands. So I think little things like that is why I tend to have a little more success.
Yeah, and Matthew, you got a new contract under your belt, multiple years, stable as far as what you're going to make in the future here. Some people would say that's pressure, but do you look at it differently as far as now I don't have to worry about that? I can relax, focus on the team and just work on my goals and not have to worry about the contract side of things?
Yeah, obviously it's a little bit of weight off my shoulders having to, get those negotiations behind me, but I think it's, obviously I think it comes with a little bit of pressure. Obviously I invested myself in this group and they invested in me. So I'm just going to try to show that same effort that they did to me staying here for such a long time. And, I think it definitely, helps me settle in a little bit and get comfortable here. And I'm just really excited to be a part of this group for a long time. And I think, obviously there's core pieces that are, very valuable here, and I think can definitely take us over the top.
A fat ticket, but very well deserved, certainly. I like to ask guys every time they sign a ticket like that, were there any cool purchases made right after, anything like that?
I've got this question asked like so many times, and I never know what to say. I mean, I was the weekend before I was actually at a different Morgan Wallen concert. So I was already like celebrating a little bit with all my buddies and stuff, but I haven't really purchased anything. I haven't needed to. Maybe I'll get like a Wallen guitar or something cool like that, but nothing crazy. I don't think I'm not looking to spend anything.
Sure, you're rocking a few timepieces there, Kniesy.
I still got
the original college one or what?
I got nothing, literally nothing. So I don't know. All the guys are chirping me. Mo's chirping me, and Auston. So we'll see. I think they're gonna have to take me and probably drag me there to do it. So
keep it simple. I like it. I want to talk to you last year, going back. Took a rough hit by Zach Whitecloud against Vegas, and as soon as you're healthy, first time you faced them, it seemed to me like you went straight to him and had something to prove. You went after him. Was that the case? And if so, at what point did you decide you were going to do that?
Yeah, I mean, again, that hit was unfortunate. It was very unlucky, bad on my end. I wasn't really happy with what him kind of taking me in a vulnerable situation there. So, I had it in mind. I mean, we only played him twice that year. So, I thought that was my only chance, to actually, get some, you could say revenge, but just kind of, just, I don't know, I guess show that I wasn't happy. I don't want that shit to happen to me. So I think that was really it. He was a nice guy about it. Obviously, props to him for letting me do that and stepping up too. So it's, it was an unfortunate situation, but I'm glad that, it got handled and, we're off on good terms. I think, we're both not gonna touch each other now.
And are you a natural lefty or wow? I mean, I loved watching that. You set a precedent, I think, for what you're able to do. And I noticed the left straight off the bat. Is that natural?
I'm both. So,
Wow.
Yeah. When I talked to some of the guys, they told me, no one's going to expect a left and no one likes fighting a lefty. So, I could do both. But, I think at that time being, one of my first fights, I don't think anyone really knew. So that kind of gives me the upper hand.
Has anybody given you tips about scrapping and playing that style, like a Revo, like in practice and stuff like that? Have any guys given you tips?
I talked to Revo a little bit. I would talk to many guys. Honestly, I talked to Shanahan a bit too. I've talked to everyone, but I don't think that's like the main part of my game. But I obviously want to stay protected if in that case that stuff like that does happen. So I have some tips and just ways to protect myself in those situations.
Yeah. Now, I know you're only 22 years old. You haven't been in the league that long, but it kind of feels like you got a lot of runway behind you. Do you feel a sense of leadership in the room, and you can take that next step as far as being a leader, even though you are at the young age of 22?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of guys in our room with a ton of experience with, McCabe, Tanev, Auston, JT. There's a ton of guys that you can name that have, played many seasons in the NHL that, I think obviously are going to take a lot of that off my hands and kind of just still show me. But, I think me being here a long time, I'm obviously going to have to learn and no better way to learn than from those four guys. So I think I'm in good hands, and I think just more experience as I get, I think it's going to help me, and I can show that I can become a leader and a good example for some of the young guys here.
So I'm happy your dog started barking, because I was talking to our mutual friend Anthony Stewart, and I was like, dude, we got Knies coming on the show. You got to give me something. He told me to ask you about the time he babysat your dog at the Adidas commercial shoot. Like, what happened there?
Yeah, I got a puppy last year, actually, in February. Just after that our break, after the Four Nations break, and yeah, she's just been chilling with me. I've been taking care of her, and yeah, it's been nice. He was honestly the best. It was full service with that guy. He was walking my dog around. He was taking him outside. It was perfect. It was awesome.
Now, I want to jump forward a little bit and talk about the fact that it's an Olympic year right now. You're at the U.S. Orientation here recently. I know you're focused on the season, but how much did that let your mind drift towards, representing your country, being on that team and taking part in the Olympics? Did you ever imagine that would be a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I dreamed of it, and I wanted to be there. Obviously, I'd have to earn my opportunity to get that chance. But yeah, that camp the other week was awesome. Just getting to meet the guys and the coaches and everything, and getting close with everyone. So it's good. I'm gonna have to play my ass off the first half of the season to get my name picked, and hopefully I can do that. But yeah, it's a pretty tremendous honor to be able to do that, to represent them at that kind of stage with obviously being best on best now. It's pretty exciting stuff, and I definitely don't want to be watching it from the couch. So yeah, I'm hopefully can do well and make that team.
Man, what was it like walking even into that orientation camp and just looking around? You're like, legend, legend, legend. Like, how cool was that? And now you're living it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is unreal. There's a lot of faces in there that you kind of look around and you're like, I watched you growing up, and this is pretty surreal. But everyone's so welcoming and so nice, and obviously you've crossed paths with over half of those guys eventually, and at some point in your career. So you have a little small connection here and there, and yeah, it was a close group right away. Everyone was so welcoming and nice. So it was easy to get along with all those guys.
Now, the last one for me, I'm just curious, in your situation, normally I don't get personal, but your girlfriend's professional hockey player as well. I'm sure you had a nice summer together, and what happens now? Are you guys splitting off and going towards your respective jobs, or how does that go down?
Yeah, she's actually going to be with me for September, October, and then her season doesn't start till November. So she'll be with me and try to figure out some training and skating here, and yeah, so we could just kind of be with each other for a few months, and then when her season gets going, she'll move out and kind of do her own job and her own thing, and then I think her season is shorter as well than ours, so I think she'll be back here for the end of the regular season and hopefully into the playoffs. So I'll get to see her enough this year, and especially in Christmas time and everything. We're all on the same schedule now, which is really cool. So it'll be nice.
Power couple. I love that. Just a couple more for me and we'll wrap here. Auston Matthews, what's it been like the last couple of years growing with him, and what is he like as a captain?
That's been awesome. Just getting to know him, getting closer with him. It's been great. Obviously, when I was a kid, it was awesome to look up to him, and now just being teammates and line mates with him has been incredible. And I mean, he's been a great leader. He's been a great role model to me, a great example on and off the ice. He takes care of himself. He's a true professional, and I think the thing I admire most is just how much time he takes on his craft. whether it's his little shooting things before practice or after practice. I think, he's one of those guys that is always out there the longest. And same thing with off the ice. He's never rushing to go home. He's always there, trying to make himself better and make himself as prepared as possible for the next upcoming games. So it's cool to see that at a a superstar like that, and our captain. So yeah, he's been tremendous for us. Obviously, someone that we all follow to and love to play behind.
How about JT? What has he meant to your development?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a lot, ever since I came in, obviously taking me in, opening his doors to me. It was tremendous, getting to meet that family and everything. I was definitely very fortunate and very lucky to be in that household and just to watch him on a daily basis, to get to pick his brain in the car on the way to the rink, on the way to the game. It's, it meant a lot to me. And just having him around, honestly, having his presence and his experience around, it's pretty cool to just chat with him. And, I still remember walking around his place, with all of his, Olympic, kind of team platforms, or sorry, team, how do I say this? Team pictures and all the sticks, all the jerseys and stuff. Like it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to, see how far he's come. And he's been huge for me.
You're an absolute weapon, man. Can't thank you enough. Can't believe it's been a couple of years. Let's not wait this long next time. Have a great season, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much for doing this, Kniesy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, there you have it. Matthew Knies, a guest here on Leafs Morning Take. And so great to have Kniesy back in the mix here, Rosie.
I know. It's a good guest to have, man. One of our favorites, obviously. And the more he climbs the ladder in that league, the better it gets. So hopefully not the last time, I'm sure. And stay tuned as well, because we got some more interviews coming that I think will pique people's interest, don't we?
Meantime, Rosie, Craig Berube addressed the media. He spoke. And by the way, Rosie, I can't hear you right now. I don't know if you can hear me. So this will be a lot of fun. But Craig Berube talked about the new additions, obviously with Michelli, Joshua, Nicolas Waugh. There should be a lot of intrigue to where these guys fit in the Maple Leafs lineup. But obviously the big questions, the top two lines, who play with the big boys, right?
Yeah, can you hear me or no? I'm talking, but maybe I'm not making any sense. Not sure what's going on. I'm not sure who we can hear. We're going to try to take care of it right away. This is throwing me back to our first year in business with some of the programs we were running. This one has been very solid, but not sure what's happening. Indeed, though, the Michellis of the world and some of the new additions that are on this Maple Leafs roster, I think we're pretty excited to see what they look like. That's why I can't wait to get to camp. We talked at the beginning of the show about some of the forwards that we all have. I don't know where they're all going to go. I don't know how they're all going to fit. I'm obviously excited to see the new ones and see how they come about and see who they're playing with and see what line combinations they go with to start with, as well as we talked about Easton Cowan. Can he make this team? Is there too many forwards? Is there too much depth? Is there too much going on? How good is he going to look? Is he going to look ready? Is he going to make their job difficult? It's all up in the air, and that's why we get so excited about this time of year.
It's time now for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use code NATION. That's NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit ConnexOntario.ca. And I understand you have a bet for the Blue Jays game tonight, Rosie.
I'm just going to take the over, I think. It's set at 8.5. The Jays have kind of been like, I'm going to kind of win one, lose one. I think I am going to jump on the over. I think everyone's going to pop off. Astros obviously quite good, especially against the Jays, and I'm looking for their offense to pop off. So that's what I got tonight.
I like that. Forecasting a lot of runs for the Blue Jays to kick off a crucial 3-game set here with the Houston Astros. Rosie, great job today. Great to catch up with Matthew Knies. Everybody in the chat was fantastic as well. Should reference as well. We're back on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Ryan Leslie, the new team host of the Toronto Maple Leafs, is going to drop by the show.
Yeah, looking forward to that. 2 a days and ramping right up to 3 a week. And then sooner than later, as we're counting it down, we will be on the 5 times a week again for all your viewing pleasure.
Love it. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Thank you again to everybody in the chat. You guys are fantastic. Thank you to Matthew Knies for stopping by once again. Thank you to producer Vic. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga, and we'll talk on Thursday. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.